if you want, Europe's Range of Undertaking has been born in this way. Europe's Range of Undertaking is there to support the risk of research and innovation activities. And if you want to also our setup within the ecosystem of the European institution, we're also a kind of startup. And my colleague here, Judith, knows very well because we need to take care of a lot of things, like I'm sure all of you are doing as well. Those of you who don't know me, I am the executive director of this partnership, which is called Europe's Range of Undertaking. It deals mostly with rail, but also with innovation around guided transport modes, and that's how and where you fit as Hyperloop. As Inigo said, things are moving when there are urgencies and there are needs. And I do believe that we are in an urgent situation. A lot has been said about this, but I will continue to repeat, we are in an urgent situation. Transport is clearly one of let's say, key elements of the European Union because it transports citizens and goods and enables to connect people and businesses. But transport counts for 1/4 of the CO2 emission in Europe. And in addition to that, transport is expected to grow. So the latest figure that I could find from a Commission report was an increase of 42% of the passenger transport by 2050 and 60% of freight transport. So, to me the question and the challenge is quite simple. How do we continue to grow and at the same time reducing our emissions? So this is the problem that we need to answer. And I believe that Europe's rail is part of the solution because rail and Hyperloop are part of the solution. Rail today, if you look at the emission, counts for 0.4% of those 1/4 of emission. So nothing. Then you look, although what is the market share? Because it's nice to tell me what are the emissions because it's the market share. So 5.5% about for trade, main trade, 1.3% trams and metro, and 17% freight. This is not enough. And this is not enough because we need more sustainable transport mode. A more sustainable transport mode is obviously rail, but it also includes Hyperloop, because Hyperloop can be at least as green as rail, if not more. Okay? So this is the framework under which I think we need to operate. And the Union tasked Europe's Range of Undertaking with an appropriate research and innovation budget. Consider mainly it's for rail, but also with this possibility to look into disruptive transport mode and in particular to make this change possible and to enable more sustainable transport mode. We are backed up also by a policy because we have the Commission policy on the sustainable and smart mobility that offer also to the Commission the possibility to open up those discussions. And the Commission even tried to regulate, so meaning that the exercise went already to a higher level. And we will still continue to have the possibility to regulate. What Europe's rail is really committed is to this vision, is to reduce the CO2 emission 90% by 2050. This is what is in the European Green Deal. And so what do we need to do more? So what do we need to do? Well, infrastructure is expensive to build. I'm talking about the rail sector, right? Infrastructure is expensive to build. And therefore, what we are thinking is, okay, how can we make best use of the existing infrastructure? So this is the first step. But this is not sufficient. This is not sufficient because we still believe that it's important to create a new network, and it's important also to develop new infrastructure, but with a different time frame. What is needed and what we are believing is not just because we are seeing the economics in Europe's rail, it's also because we are backed it up by a long-term policy, which is the TEN-T policy. And in the TEN-T policy, also Hyperloop is part of that. So as I mentioned, those are long-term, but also long-lasting changes that we will do in our transport mode. And therefore, research and innovation can support to de-risk those long-term changes that needs to happen. So we also want to have, let's say, startups and innovators really to prosper in Europe. And so also I think changes on our regulatory environment will need to happen. This I cannot tell you that Europe's Rail will be doing, but for sure I will continue to pass this message. I know that what maybe you don't know, but we are supporting also the European Startup Prize. And I know that some of you have been also participating in this Startup Prize, and through these actions we would like really also to bring in this ecosystem of startup for their possibility also maybe to make a partnership like here we are doing with Tata Steel, but we got also more traditional companies as well also in the rail sector. And I would say that although time-wise, the joint undertaking, the Commission, are not startups, it's public time-wise, but this should not discourage you to continue to work as a startup. What we need from you is really to increase the maturity level of the Hyperloop, because we have heard about the discussion about the regulatory environment, and also my plea will also to look into the interfaces with the other transport modes. Because, as I mentioned, I really believe on the coexistence of different sustainable transport modes and not really trying to look into a competition between transport modes, because simply the growth of transport will allow all modes to coexist, and actually we need even more rail and even more Hyperloop in the future. So I am also pleased, and then I will stop, but I am also pleased to announce you that we are currently under the grant agreement preparation phase of our second project on Hyperloop, supported by this joint undertaking. And within this project, today we're really looking into get all the promoters finding some technical convergence on some elements that you may have already developed, and as well as looking into a system architecture for the future, because this will also bring a confidence that more can be achieved collectively. Also, something that we would like to see is to de-risk the risk of fragmentation. So you have a big disadvantage at Hyperloop community, because it was said, you don't have yet a transport mode. But you have a strong advantage in the sense that you can design the future transport mode, taking the lessons learned from the other transport mode, in particular I would say rail, because rail is suffering from interoperability. So a lot of fragmentation happened with the creation of different rail systems, and today we are suffering. So we would like that a new system, I think, like Hyperloop could be designed at the inceptions to avoid this interoperability issue. And then the last thing that we're looking at is also working together with you to, again, increase the maturity and look into an industrial roadmap that will be possible to see how a future system can fit inside the European landscape of transport and mobility. To conclude, now it's just time to act, but we are all entrepreneurs, so I don't need to tell you to act because it's your DNA, but we're there also to support you, and we also encourage, as Inigo already said, to attend Innotrans, the European stand, and in particular the sessions that will be dedicated to Hyperloop, and maybe in the next Innotrans session we can have also nice demonstration activity of Hyperloop. So thank you for your attention, and also later on you will also have the possibility to deep dive much more into the detail with my colleague Judith that she's part of Atlantic session. Enjoy the conference.